Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to The Warm Truth. I'm Kim, one of your hosts, and
It's Melisha, aka Melly Mel. Hey y'all. Thank you for listening. We are on another segment of our friendship episodes, and this time we brought one of our friends, homies, girls, Kaylynn here, and she'll introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Kaylynn. I've been in Austin for about 3, going on 4 years. I work in medical tech, so that's kind of currently what I am doing. Free time hanging out with these ladies. So thank you for having me on.
whoop
Yes.
whoop.
Thank you for being on.
Of
Boop, boop, boop,
course, of
boop.
course.
Alrighty. Because this is our second episode for our friendship panel, some things you may hear may be similar, but we're all different. We all handle friendships differently. And so we'll go ahead and transition. If something resonates with you, make sure to engage in the comments.
Yes, and I think we can just start off with how we met. I met Kaylin, I believe it was through the walk group. Again, the
Yeah.
community that Kim set for us. We walk ATX, or we walk to ATX. I met Kaylin through that, and yeah, we were just walking around Lady Bird Lake and gabbing at the mouth, and connected that way. And then from there, we be in the street sometimes,
This is very true.
And
we
here we are.
do. Yeah. Yes.
Alrighty. I guess we could just start off with, do you have any like lifelong friends that you're still in contact with? And if so, what do you love about all of them?
Oh, okay. So yes, I do. I have a few friends that I've known for quite a long time, maybe 10 years plus. Specifically, three that really come to mind. I think they were probably like my really best true friends. Two of them are guys, one is a girl. So I have a little bit of mix. I think when you think of friendships that long, you think of probably mostly women, but no, I have a mix. And so yeah, very. I think they play a really important role in my life right now, specifically going through like transition. But I think when I think of them, that was the question, right? Okay, okay. Uh, when I do think of them, I think of a safe place. I can tell them pretty much anything and not necessarily feel like, oh, should I have said that? Or maybe I need to water it down or make it like politically correct. I can just actually say what I want to say, and that feels really good. So I think when I think of all of them, I think of a safe space for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that how you would define friendship? Being
Mm.
able to have someone where you can feel safe and be safe? Is there anything else that you would define it with?
Yeah, I think that definitely is a good definition of it. I also think, obviously, other than being a safe space, but probably goes into that as well, being able to be vulnerable with your friends, right? I feel like a lot of times we wear a lot of hats when we are at work or in public, and so it's hard to kind of let your guard down. And so I think that also kind of goes into it as well. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think friendship should be like mutual,
Yeah.
like a mutual exchange. And I think both parties or multiple parties, all parties should feel comfortable, just like letting their hair down, being themselves, being vulnerable, and literally saying whatever they want to say. So, like, to certain people, I can be like, fuck this hoe. But then, like, but then I'm like, I don't really mean it. Like, I'm just expressing
Right.
myself, like I wouldn't say it to somebody's face, and so that's what I like really appreciate about friends and like just a safe space, someone who like doesn't judge you when you're at your worst, and just someone who you could literally like go broken to or be broken in front of, and just be like, damn girl, I fucked up. Like, don't judge me. I fucked up. Still love me. So yeah, I think it's just like a mutual exchange, and I don't think you always have to like talk about what it looks like. I think over
Yeah.
time it grows.
Yeah.
It just kind of ebbs and flows, and then it works or it doesn't. But yeah.
It's true. All the above. These are friends of yours. Did you grow
Mhm.
up with them, or like were they high school? Like where did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, no, that good question. So one specifically, the female, we actually worked together at Navarro College. I used to be in higher ed, and so I spent 5 years in higher ed. And so we were recruiting together, and we just kind of became friends. From there, we became neighbors. I was her maid of honor at her wedding. So she is my best friend for sure. That is a girl, you know. Her name is Kim as well. I was telling Kim, I call her Kimbo Slice, Kim Possible, pretty much everything. And so yeah, through working, honestly, we became neighbors. And any time we're bored, we're like, hey, do you want to go shopping? Because we were from a really small town, so it was like, oh, do you want to go to like, you know, our local, like, you know, small, almost like thrift store kind of thing. And so we spent a lot of time with each other, a lot of times with each other's like families as well. So I know all her family. I know all of her now husband's family. I'm always around. And so yeah. And I think with the other two, one I met in high school. And so we've been friends for 13 years. That's probably the longest. Yeah, I think definitely it's like a transitional part of your life. You're in high school, you're still trying to like figure it out. And so it was good to have that friend. We've been through a lot together, but yeah, really good friend. And then the other one I met in college. So before I was working at Navarro College, just attending Navarro College, and we were in the same orientation group. Yes, and so we became friends that way. And we have a few other friends too, but out of the ones that talk the most, we still, you know, talk. And he used to live in Austin, so it was easier to see him when he was here in Austin. So yeah.
So I guess we can transition to like your first question.
Okay.
Yeah, transition to the
Transition to
question.
transition.
How, I guess, do you show up for friends when they're going through transitions, whether it's like relationships, job related, mental health related, and also like how do you like for your friends to show up for you when you're going through a transition?
That's I'm trying not to say that's a good question. I just took some like presentation training, and they say never say that's a good question, so you might want to cut that piece. But yeah, I think the most obvious and probably the least, you know, cost effective, it might take a little bit of time, is definitely just reaching out, honestly, right? And just being that listening ear. So I think that definitely kind of touches all the bases, whether that is relationships or transition to new jobs and moving and going through, you know, tough times in your life. I definitely think just kind of being a listening ear. I think we all like to gap a little bit. And so nothing wrong with that. Personally, I like to listen. So I have no problem picking up the phone and just kind of being like, hey, what's going on? Or like, you know, what's going on with you? Especially if I'm taking a long drive. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? So yeah, I think most importantly, just kind of being a listening ear and keeping that line of communication open is probably the best. I mean, of course, there's other ways to show up, right? If you're moving, I'll help you move. If you are, you know, needing a place to stay, I'll open my door to you. But I definitely think the biggest one is definitely just being a listening ear. People need that sometimes, especially with everything going on. And so it's free. I can give you my time. So, and it's not going to cost me anything, right? So I think that's probably the biggest one, and especially for me too, right? I want to be heard. I want to be listened to. There are some times where, especially me, I'm like in my head a lot, especially with like all the anxiety and all the like everything going on. And I'm like, I just need to like get it out. I may not take your advice, but like, can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? And so, yeah, I definitely think just kind of being that listening ear is probably first out of everything, for sure.
And I think that's the biggest part. I mean, you talk about it being free, but it's still a priority being the lending ear or someone that you can vent to and vice versa. I mean, I think that's the best way you can show up for anyone, especially long distance or with any transitions you go through. And I think it's a certain communication saying, hey, I'm here, regardless of what the distance is, or, you know, we may not be in the same city. I am still here. You can just pick up the phone and I will be here for you. But then going to your other question, rekindle a friendship in that matter, or is there a different way you have to rekindle it or not rekindle it?
Yeah, I think I go back and forth because I definitely think it's situational. I think it's easy to rekindle friendships that kind of just, we went our separate ways. There's been some time in between. We may not just check in as much as we did before. We're still cool. And then I think there's the other side of that where you've wronged me. I'm very upset with you.
Yeah.
And I need some time to really think about how I feel and how I can come back to it. And so I too have had a situation like that too, where I've lost a really good friend. And even to this day, I think about her often. I'm like, oh man, like I wish I could just like reach out. But unfortunately, like we're in two different paths right now. But getting back to what you said, yeah, I think it depends. I really do think it's situational. But at the end of the day, I do think you have to ask yourself, is it worth rekindling? Is this going to help me in any way? Is this going to feed into me? Is this going to bring me some kind of peace of mind? Or am I just better off, unfortunately, just letting it lie where it lies? So I try to think of it that way. But me, being the delusional girl I am, I'll give anything a try. No. No, I do believe in second chances. Sometimes third. It just depends. So yeah, I think it depends, but I do think that nothing is worth having a conversation about and seeing if you can rekindle it, because I do also believe in right person, wrong time, whether that is a friendship or a relationship or any kind of relationship. I was gonna say ship, but yeah, I do think you kind of have to take into account, like, is this going to serve me? If I rekindle this, like, what is this person bringing to my life? And what am I going to bring to them too? I don't want to waste your time either, right? So I want to make sure that this serves both of us. And sometimes it's where it's like, I'm ready to rekindle, but they may not be ready. And I have to sit with that. I have to let that be what it's going to be and just support how I can from the distance. If that's liking their post or engaging with their business or whatever I can do to kind of still show like, hey, I'm still thinking of you, like, whatever the case, I'm here to support you. But I mean, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, right? And so I think that's something too, because I'm always like, oh, when I'm ready, they'll be there. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. So yeah.
I have another story. Not the one from that one, but like one like where there was like years between like me and a friend. And now that I'm like here, like fast forward a few years after the friendship, I don't know if we should have rekindled. We're not beefing, but again, when we stopped being friends, we were in a different stage of life, right? We kind of rekindled because like, like we kind of watched from a distance, and I saw something that like broke my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, like, hey, like I saw this. I'm so sorry. Like, I hope everything's fine. And I was like, I'm not trying to do that, but I just want you to know that like, I'm so sorry. And then there were conversations that like we didn't have back then that we had then, and there was clearly like still some hurt. And like we had like a cry and come to Jesus moment on the phone. But like although we had grown, like there were just still like you, as you go through life, you experience new things, more trauma, right? So you have new wounds. So maybe something that didn't come up then is like now here, right? And it's just kind of like we're ever evolving, ever changing, ever being hurt. And so it's interesting because like there would be comments of like, oh, well, you used to. I'm like, I don't even know her anymore. Thanks so much for spending time with us today.
We hope this conversation gave you something to carry with you, a little warmth and a little truth.
And if you love this episode, make sure to follow The Warm Truth wherever you listen and leave us a review so more people can join the conversation.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at The Warm Truth Podcast. We love hearing your stories and reflections. Until next time, keep living in your truth.